And welcome back, Children of the Night, to another episode of the Infernal Archive. On this episode, we're doing another contemporary one. I think we kind of told you guys last episode that this season might be more contemporary films. We're about to go see 28 years later, The Bone Temple, the hotly anticipated film by us. Saw the first one, had a lot of thoughts. Was a very interesting sequel to the first two 28 movies. Andrew, could you please read to us from the Wikipedia scroll of Doom?
28 years later, The Bone Temple is a 2026 post-apocalyptic horror drama film directed by Nia DaCosta and written by Alex Garland. As Spike is inducted into Jimmy Crystal's gang on the mainland, Dr. Kelson makes a discovery that could alter the world.
And now you might hear that description and say, that really doesn't sound like a 28 movie at all. What is the Jimmy Gang? What is whatever? Why didn't they say the word zombie or rage virus in the description of the film? All will be revealed to us. We're going to go check it out, and then we will give you our thoughts when we're back.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
And Children of the Night, we're back. We just saw 28 years later, The Bone Temple. What a sequel. We kind of talked like, so we said the stuff about the Jimmy Gang, and if you haven't seen 28 years later, it's hard to...
It's very much directly. It's a direct, like, the other one ends off, and then this one's, it very much, they go one to the other one.
Like, if you saw 28 Days and you heard that, you would be like, I don't really understand what's happening. Yeah, like you said, it's like the end of the first 28 years later movie, it has a very unique ending to give it, to say the least. And anyway, so this movie picks up exactly where that movie ends off, and it's sort of it's just a continuation of sort of that plot line from the end of 20 years later. So, Andrew, what did you think about The Bone Temple?
I really enjoyed it, especially in the context of as a sequel to the first one. And I feel like a lot of the things that were being set up in the first one, we really got payoff in this one, which is always nice when, you watch when the first film in a trilogy is very much dependent on how it happens in the second one. When there is payoff, it kind of elevates both of them a little bit. So that's kind of, broadly speaking, how I felt. There's a particular scene, I don't want to give too much away or do too many spoilers or whatever, but a particular scene that I think really stands out in this movie that I absolutely loved. And the character of Jimmy was just so fascinating. I really enjoyed everything about, like, the accent, the weird, like, satanic shit going on, like, fucked up torture bullshit.
Very fucked up.
And whatever, I think there's certainly the criticism of, where are the zombies in my zombie film thing? This, I think, pretty clearly was going for...
That would be my criticism.
This was pretty clearly going for the human side of this equation. So we're shifting away slightly from the zombies to... It'd be similar to like the Romero film, which one is it? Where they're all in the bunker, and it's like
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, where it's a drama about the zombie apocalypse is the setting, but it's really about the human side of the zombie apocalypse. So that didn't faze me really, and interesting developments on both sides, I would say, in terms of like the plot, with Dr. Kelson and his discoveries and whatever. That was good, and I enjoyed the tone. I thought like the dark humor worked really well for everything that was going on. The soundtrack slapped fucking hard. And again, I loved the ending and the potential that the ending sets up as well, again, for this one. So I don't have much bad to say about it, really.
Yeah. I talked with a friend of ours, Thomas, about it for a while, and the more I think about the movie, the less endearing I'm finding it. Like, I found it a very... I really enjoyed myself in the theater, I'll say that. Like, I think it's a really good movie. I think any issues I have with the film really stem from it being a sequel to 28 Days and 28 Weeks. And, like, I said this, if you watch our review for 28 Years Later, I sort of had a similar sentiment where it was like, I really love the first half of 28 Years. And I find it to be an extremely, like... It feels like it has that momentum and that same. It feels like it's set in that same world as 28 Days and 28 Weeks, and feels like this natural continuation. But then it's like you get sort of towards the end of that movie, and then it really, to me, I'm like, I just don't. It doesn't feel like I'm in the same world anymore, and like it's interesting because like an issue I had with the first movie was the fact that it kind of feels like it's two movies. Like we're doing this thing and then we're doing this thing, and they're disparate thoughts, and both are good, but it's like it is like the feeling I had. I couldn't deny that it felt like disparate thoughts. And this movie, it doesn't have that issue where because this movie is focused. Like it is like if you took the second half of the first film. And that's sort of the general outline. That's the plot of this film. It's the setting is similar. They're picking up on strings that they set up in the first movie, and that's sort of it. It's a very tight, closed-in movie. Like there's not a lot of hopping around. There's not like they're sort of like they're mostly in like one location, and then there's brief forays into these other little spots. But it's like there's nothing you see in this movie that you didn't see in the previous movie. Yeah, that might be the best way to say it. It's like nothing new is presented in terms of like location or setting or whatever. But the big new thing is the Jimmy Gang, which it kind of seems like Nia DaCosta also found the ending of 28 Years Later silly, because like if you see 28 Years Later, they're like parkour crazy whatever, and in this film they don't do any parkour at all, which was interesting. She just dropped that thread or whatever, which I'd be interested to hear like why the filmmaker of this movie was like, I didn't like that's a little much for me or whatever.
But we also didn't really see them fighting a ton of zombies though, to be fair.
No, I'm just like, you just don't see it at all. Like it's just interesting that you have 30 seconds of screen time at the end of the last film, and it's like crazy
flashy action,
Assassin's Creed style stuff. And then this movie, it was like, we don't have any and it's not to say it's whatever. It's just like, it's interesting that clearly it was a choice to not showcase them doing those acrobatics that they were doing in the end of the first film. But they're like the big addition to this movie, and they're super interesting and they're super captivating, and like their leader is super interesting. And I wish I could remember. I did look at the performer's name a few back when we like just after we saw the movie, but now I forget it already. My mind's blank. But he was very brilliant in that role, and that's one thing I'll say like across the board as a positive is like all the performances. Ralph Fiennes, the boy, even Samson, like the one zombie character, or this one zombie in the whole movie. All of them I think did really phenomenally. But yeah, it's like at the end of the day, my chief criticism can be summarized with like, where are the zombies in my zombie movie?
Where are they? Killing is making a choice. Where are they?
And it feels so odd. Like if you were to watch this film and you didn't know what the title was, it would be hard pressed for you to guess that this was set in the world of 28 years to me. Like the only thing would be when they directly say the word rage virus would be the only thing that you'd be like, oh, okay, that's it's set in the same thing. Because like,
I mean, it starts again with people getting chased down by zombies and one of them dying and whatever, and then they come back, and then we're on the path of the Jimmy Gang again. So it's like at the very beginning we see it, and then not a ton after that, and then at the very end we see it again.
It's interesting, like it almost feels like you could cut, because this film largely wraps up a lot of the threads from the first 20 Years Later movie. Yeah. And like, I almost desire a world. This is a good euphemism for it. I want you to imagine a numbered Star Wars sequel that didn't have any lightsabers. That's a little bit how I feel with.
We almost got that with the last round of them.
They had lightsabers. I don't know, and they had lightsaber fights and stuff. But it's sorta. Like, imagine one that has no lightsabers. Like, that's sort of how I feel about the Bone Temple and the second half of the first film. And I almost because like, that's the thing is like, the one thing, because you brought up the Romero films, and I think one way that they're really successful is that they don't really follow plot threads from the previous movies at all. Like, they're just sort of their own. Each one is completely different from the last one. Like, Night of the Living Dead is nothing like Day of the Living Dead, sorry, which is nothing like Dawn of the Dead. Like, they're all just so disparate. And
I would argue that these are sequels to 28 Days and 28 Months in that it's set in the same universe, but they're not direct sequels in the same way. Like
No,
I
would agree
this-
with that statement completely.
I think the whole thing is like this movie isn't really a sequel to 28 Days and Months. It is the second entry into this new trilogy more than it is related to the other
I
ones.
100% agree with that. But that's my criticism, sort of. It's like,
Yeah,
I
that's
wanted like I said, I love the first half of 28 Years a lot. Like, and I think it's such a brilliant follow up
It was
to
great, yeah.
28 Days and 28 Weeks, and like that's. I wish I could have seen that movie brought to fruition, and that's the thing is like I don't even the Bone Temple. It's like I like it, and I kind of wish it's sort of like using the Star Wars analogy. It's like what they did with Solo or Rogue One. It's like if you can do these side stories that feel sort of unrelated, but like whatever, and they're interesting. And Rogue One is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies. But it's like had you called that episode whatever, then it's like this doesn't feel like it has anything. And not to say like we said, it's like it's not a direct analogy because they're
Right.
a lot more like sequential. But that's sort of just to give you an overview of sort of how I'm feeling about them. It does feel like this sort of sidestep, and not the numbered sequel that I want, or not the numbered sequel that I'm sort of waiting for. But it feels like largely that they are setting up for the third piece of this whole trilogy to be that sort of.
Because the stakes are going to be, with everything they set up in the second one, the stakes are obviously going to be super high in the third one.
And they're like bringing back characters from
bringing
28
back characters,
days, and obviously they're going to start
yeah.
picking up on threads from the first half of 28 Years that they sort of left in 28 Years or whatever.
I guess where you see it as a side story, I see it as like we're finally getting depth into a universe and learning and seeing a side of things beyond just like zombies run, kill zombies. Like I like that. It's cool, but there's not a lot to that. So,
No, and it's not what I want either.
Yeah.
Like I just think I guess like if I was to say anything, I think that these plot lines could have been integrated into the world in a way that felt more integrated would be the way, not so like because it's like I said, it's like largely you could watch this movie and if you didn't know it was a 28 movie, you would just be like, okay, it's a whatever. Like it. Yeah, that's sort of my big issue. Is it is weird when it feels like a sequel doesn't share a ton of DNA with the previous films, and it's little things too, man. It's like I was talking about this. It's like one huge triumph I think about 28 Weeks is that so like 28 Days was shot on like a handy cam. It was super cheap, and if you see it, you know what I'm talking about. It's got like this high shutter speed. It's meant to kind of to evoke a feeling of like documentarian style, and 28 Weeks abandons that lo-fi look. But what it maintained and what it retained, which I think was brilliant, which I think was the important thing, because I think they distilled like what is 28 Weeks, what is 28 Days, what is the franchise. They retained the high shutter speed, they retained the camera movements, they retained the like a lot of that stuff that I feel like is integral to the DNA of the franchise and gives it its look, gives it its feel or whatever. Even the theme, that iconic 28 Days Weeks theme, they maintain that. And then Years, like I said, I think the beginning, it does have a lot of that. And you have the filmmaker from the first movie come back, Danny Boyle. And so I feel like because he was part of the inception of the franchise, you're going to feel a lot of that DNA come across in his movie. And I think you do. Like the shutter speed's there. And I don't know if I totally agree with the whole shooting on an iPhone thing. And it seems like they just totally abandoned that in this movie as well. Like Nia DaCosta, I'm not 100% certain, but this film did not look anything like 28 Years Later, which was very interesting. It looked more like just a normal film, which is just like that filmmaker. They wanted to do something a little more traditional, but yeah, I think with that, to a degree, you lose some of the DNA with like not doing the high shutter speeds, not doing some of the shaky cam stuff or whatever. Just some of that stuff that like. Yeah, it's a part of the atmosphere. It's a part of the that's what you associate with 28. And it's like I think that, like I said, I think the film is captivating. That's the thing. It's super interesting to watch. I love the characters. I love what happens. I think it's really interesting. And I think it's like the same thing I said about the second half of 28 Years Later, where it's like it's really good. Like I don't think it's bad. It's just like this isn't my zombie movie. It's just kind of like like I said, if you did a spin-off Star Wars movie set on a planet that looks exactly like Earth or something. I'm coming up with something ridiculous, but it's like I guess you could technically call anything a Star Wars movie, but it's like sometimes there are certain pieces that I think are integral to the experience that need to be maintained. And I guess like my hope is that this third film it's sort of like, because this is supposed to be a trilogy, right? Like, if the third film can like bring all this together and integrate all this into a really nice cohesive piece, I think that there's still opportunity for this to feel like, for the whole piece as a whole, like 1, 2, and 3, to feel like 28 years later, the film that is the sequel to 28 Weeks and 28 Days, that has this like kind of has that cohesion that I feel like I'm sort of missing. But yeah, it's tough to say, because like I still think, we were talking before, it's like I still think this movie's like a high rating. It's like a 10.5. It's a great experience at the movie theater. But yeah, it's just like, there are, unluckily with franchises, and this franchise in particular, which I deeply love, like 28 Weeks Later is my favorite zombie movie. There's just certain things that as a fan I just would like to see, and I'm not getting all of it, but it's like, I can't deny it's super captivating. They are taking the franchise in interesting directions. There is like tangible movement in this film that build on the world. Like, it's not like this film, nothing happens that has no bearing on the world at whole. Like, there is something that happens in this movie that is extremely important to like how what's going to happen in the future. So that's a super cool development or whatever. But yeah, like that's, I guess, like,
So with what
Little Mouse fighting a scorpion, and that is final. Shut up! Oh my God, I don't care.
Try to explain my sort of like main criticism of the film as a whole. But yeah, I don't know. Like, go see it in theaters. It's a great experience. Like,
If I had to guess, the first part of the first film was kind of like the cap off, or like we're kind of ending the arc, I guess, ish, or like the vibe of the first two. And then the second half of the first film and then the second film are like this new direction, some new development, where we cap off a lot of those stories and the threads that we pick up in the second one. And then the third one, we're going to kind of, what I hope is, go back to some of the roots of the originals, cap off the whole thing. Stakes are high again. We're bringing back old characters. We have a new understanding of this disease that has been running rampant. What are the implications of this? How is that going to affect characters, their motivations and goals? So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed really everything about it and the direction it's going. But it's, again, largely dependent on where they go with the third film.
yeah, the third film could really, for me, because like I feel like I'm still a little bit in that skeptical box of like, is this that sequel that I always wanted? And I think that third film has the potential big time, especially with the ending of this most recent movie, has the potential to like be that, like, this home run or whatever. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Undeniably, these are like extremely creative movies by extremely creative people, and it's more interesting than 95% of what you're seeing in the theater today, especially as it concerns like the zombie genre. Like that's one thing that's a huge positive. Like it is not a lazy zombie movie. Like,
I'm so
they are
fucking sick of The Walking Dead and fucking even Zack Snyder's last
Army of the Dead.
Oh my God, it was so fucking bad. So just having something that wasn't terrible is refreshing.
I tell you what though, folks, that's bloody nice. That is bloody lovely.
and quite exceptional.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like we said, I think we said already, we gave it a
10.5.
Andrew would have, like, he was feeling more 12.5, like home run. And I think the highest.
Yeah, probably. I would say even like 11. Like, I wouldn't go as far as 12.5, but like if I was rating it on my own, I'd give it like an 11 and a half kind of thing.
And then my big thing was like, I knew that we rated. This is kind of the way I saw it, was like, if I'm gonna pick one of these movies to watch, I'm still gonna watch 28 Years Later because I love that first half so much. And then so I couldn't. But the one thing that this movie has in spades above the first one is it feels way more cohesive as a full picture beginning to end, and the first one didn't have that cohesion.
I feel it's a little bit like Dune 1 and Dune 2. It's like, how do you watch one of them and not the, like, how do you, like, more stuff happens in Dune 2, but I need the setup to fully appreciate it. So it's like, to me, they just work so well as I'm excited for once it's out of theaters to actually sit down and do a watch of do 1 and 2 back to back together.
Yeah, totally.
Because I think that's going to be a really good experience. So
yeah, totally. But yeah, I think 10.5 is a great score. I don't like, what do we have on our thing? It's 81%. Like, it's a great theater going experience, man. It's like we've
definitely catch it before it's out of theaters. I would say if you enjoyed the first one, definitely go see this one.
Yes, 1,000,000,000%. Yeah, that's 100%. But yes, any final
No,
thoughts?
I think it was just a good theater experience. Give them their money. It's definitely give them your money. Definitely worth supporting in theaters, and it was
100%.
good experience. So
Yeah, the last thing we want is we don't want to go through another drought. Or I mean, this
Yes.
might be the end of this 28 franchise, but we don't want to see we want to see Alex Garland be like, "Ooh, I like working in this horror genre," and then maybe we see the next Alex Garland horror movie masterpiece or whatever. So
Whatever
it's like
that
we
may
want
be,
these,
yeah.
we want these filmmakers to like feel motivated to work in these types of
Yes,
spaces. So yeah,
yes.
definitely go see this movie and give it your money. Thank you so much for tuning in, children, tonight, and we will catch you next time.